Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Nikita Antoine and today I'll be doing a reading for the sign of Sagittarius. As always, all of my readings are timeless, so when the message finds you and resonates, then it's yours at the time in which you find it. Sagittarius, I have done your reading with... Why? There's a lot of hesitation. Trying to decide what I should do first. I've done your reading with the Ethereal Visions Tarot and the Dreamscape Oracle. So you'll be seeing a blend of both of those in your spread today. On the split, we have, oh, the White Owl. Okay, this is cool. This came out in yesterday's Capricorn reading. I'm looking at my, hang on a second. I'm looking at my window and it looks like there's this tree that is moving. That's very interesting. I don't know. Anyways, this was really, it played an important part in the Capricorn reading. And it was talking about taking a closer look. Taking a closer look. I kind of like the behind the scenes, the mechanics behind the scenes. And it's interesting because I saw that tree and I literally thought that it was like, it's so bizarre. I mean, it's windy today, so I know that the wind is moving them, but it looks like it's walking. I don't know. All right, so it's talking about taking a closer look at the behind the scenes of, like, I guess, like, energetically too. Because you're not reading the environment, well, you should be reading the environment as it is, not as it's supposed to be. So, like, for instance, with this tree, the trees are supposed to be planted firmly in the ground. They're not supposed to walk, like, you know, based on reality, not supposed to be walking about. But when I'm looking at this tree and I'm taking a closer look, I can see that it's actually like, it looks like it's walking. Anyways, all right, so that was on the split, White Owl on the split. And then we have the sun. Okay, the sun at the bottom of the deck. So with the White Owl and the sun, this is a really interesting energy. Because you wouldn't expect a white owl to be out in the sun. They're night creatures, right? You wouldn't expect to see. So it's something that's kind of unexpected. And you're like, what? you're seeing it. You're seeing something very unexpected, and it's enticing you to take a closer look. Well, it's piquing your curiosity. So, all right, that's for your overall energies. All right, so in your reading, I'm trying to see how that is taking, like, we'll see how it's tying in later. We are, in your reading today, we're coming up with, we have the Nine of Swords beginning your reading. And this is, I don't believe that this is your energy. This feels like it's someone else's energy close to you. Someone who's, well, what it's coming up as is like, they're in their own, like, space, like in their own, it's almost like you're right next door to each other. It's like a next door type of thing. You're both like sleeping in separate rooms, and then the vision that's coming in my mind is like someone having like a bad dream. Like you can hear them having a bad dream, and you're inclined with this Fool energy. This is you as the Fool energy to, like, I'm literally seeing you like storming in, not storming in a, but like you're rushing into their room to assist them in their distress. And it's kind of coming up as like, it's looking like this one, like you are, okay, so there's a separation, I want to say here, in the, I feel like it maybe it's along, well, I mean, along like a vibration level, like they are in this lower, like a lower world vibration. And you are in this higher perspective, higher, I mean, I feel like we're talking literally about vibration. You're in a higher vibration, they're in a lower vibration. And it's like you're coming in almost like a, like Mary Poppins, because I'm seeing, with the umbrella. And what you're doing is when you're coming in, you're surrounding them under this like under the umbrella, like they're inside, like your energy is like surrounding them. Okay, hang on. And I'm noticing that when you come into the room and you surround them with your energy, it's almost like these energies here, the lower vibrations, lower vibrational energies, there's like an uptick in it because it's getting tighter. So it's like, because the energy is getting tighter, it's almost like it's increasing. It's coming in closer. So it's giving me a message of kind of along the lines of it having to get a little bit worse before it gets better type of thing. So they've just woken up, right, out of a nightmare, and that energy is still present around them. And then when you come in, it's like it amps up a little, it amps up, like it's becoming real again. So that makes me feel like perhaps as you're coming in, you're trying to help to soothe them. And in doing so, it's like you're asking them, like, what happened in the dream? What were these ones saying? Like you're asking them questions about trying to you're trying to pull the energy out because it's like residing within them. And when you're doing so, because it's like a fog. It's like a fog of energy that when you come in, because that energy doesn't want to leave, it's like trying its hardest to like stay condensed and in that space. But since you are on this higher vibration, it's like it has to dispel. So it's like the sun breaking the fog. So you're coming in and breaking that and breaking this energy up on behalf of this other person, on behalf of this loved one. There's something here with the sun and the white owl. You are, as you're bringing the sun, you're getting them to take a closer look. So it's like you're trying to, instead of going in and being like, oh, it's just a nightmare, it was just a bad dream, you're trying to get them to like look closer at the dream, look closer at what happened in the dream. Because there's something in that they're not seeing. they're not seeing something, they're seeing it as it's supposed to be and not actually like how it really is, not the reality of the situation. Kind of like with the tree. Like, do you see what I'm saying? I hope that is making sense. And as you're asking them more questions about the dream and kind of getting them to look closer at it, what it's doing is like it's dispelling all of these energies, entities, oh, how, you know what I mean? And then it's like they're each picking them out one at a time and like examining it closer and seeing the true reality of what is behind that. And the okay, so let's kind of just shift a little bit. So as you're, it's like you're sitting in bed with them, you've brought them kind of like, I want to say it's almost like the antidote or something. The antidote, it's coming up as like medicine or something along those lines. Like you're carrying medicine to them. The medicine would be like this, the healing process of how to actually overcome a nightmare, not to just shove it away so that they have to relive and experience that again, but you're actually enticing them to overcome this nightmare. And what I'm seeing is it's almost like I'm seeing it in the hair. The hair has been a theme that has been coming up in the readings lately, having to do with hair. And in your reading, it's coming up as like actually physically like combing out the hair. Detangling is what it is. It's a detangle. In this energy, this is a very tangled energy. There's nothing, you know what I mean? It can't like you can't pull a comb through this hair. It can't. So you're coming in and it's like you're stroking their head or you're running your fingers. It's like your hands or the things, because here we go. This is you here, like running your hands through their hair as they're speaking about the dreams that they're having, and the action of you literally running your hands through the hair is detangling like the fog that they're in. Does that make sense? I feel like this is it's very literal. It's not like it's like it's like you have healing hands and you're helping them to detangle their crown, which if your crown, like your crown chakra is tangled up, you're going to have like voices, right? It almost looks like it looks like an attack, if you will. I'm not getting like if it necessarily is like from another individual or, well, I think you're trying to get them to see where it's coming from, whether that be from an external source or an internal source. I mean, with the nine is a very, well, it's an independent energy. So I'm wanting to say that it's from like within them. It's within them. So as you're going through this process of detangling their crown and getting them to kind of like the root cause of what these nightmares are, they're shifting into the strength energy. They're moving into the strength. And I'm noticing there's a correlation between here. It's interesting. This one has all the swords on the skull. This is what they're not looking at. They're seeing all of this energy up here, but this one down here it's like they haven't, this is where it is. And there's a correlation between this energy, it's like they're the same. Okay, so that's what it is. Remember we were talking earlier about seeing something for what it actually is and not what it's supposed to be. So they're perceiving this nightmare, or the images that they're seeing inside of the nightmare, as well, scary, right? They're seeing it as scary, but what it actually is this lion energy, and the lion, it's like once their crown is detangled, the lion is a representation for, well, Christ consciousness, love, super high vibrational energy. It's like they're misunderstanding this. I think it's because they don't know what it is. They don't exactly know yet what it is. So they're misunderstanding it as a nightmare, or as some type of unknown scary thing that they've never experienced before, but in actuality it's this lion energy. I'm just taking a deeper look at this. Because there's something like with this figure up here and all of these, this is split energies. You see, they're all represented as like different energies. And then in this one, they're unified. And in one, well, you know, the Strengths card talks about unification between your inner self, kind of like shadow and integration. The nightmares are being experienced because shadow hasn't yet been integrated. And so it's coming up as a nightmare so that it can be witnessed and reclaimed. And then it all gets condensed back into one. What's that I was talking about? A condensing, or like a pressure being like put down as you're, okay, so that's what it is. You're coming in with this umbrella and almost like, I'm seeing it as like pushing the energy back, like back into them in a like integration way. It's like their energy has become split because of the nightmare, and everything is like swirling around the room in this crazy, like chaotic fog. And then when you come in, you're pushing it back into them. And what it's doing is causing them to go through an integration process in which they've now, like, well, they're brave now. They've faced the nightmare. They didn't run away from the nightmare. They didn't just like, okay, well, that was just a nightmare, we're just going to tuck it off to the side. They've now faced it. And so in doing so, they have that strength now. They have the strength to overcome their nightmares. And it's like you're just coming in at the right time to have this happen for them. It's like you're a facilitator of, I don't know, it's kind of like a rescue, if you will. Well, you're not necessarily rescue, because a rescue implies that you're doing the work on their behalf, but it's like you're just there to help them get to a point that they are able to do the work for themselves. You're not doing it for them. It's like you're asking them the right questions in order for them to see it for themselves. So they're, after this realization that they have the strength to overcome their own nightmares, they shift then into the Nine of Pentacles. So there's this powerful it's a transmutation of the energy, where they're coming from a place of the nightmare. I'm trying to think of other words to say other than nightmare. Well, nightmare might be very significant. So they're coming from a place of this like dense, heavy fog of this nightmare. And it's like, then they go into their day, right? It's like, this is at night. And then when they, after you come in, you help soothe them. They go back to sleep, right? And then when they wake up in the day, it's like a magical transformation of their energies. They're going, they're both nines, 2 9s, signifying like it's at the end of this, I don't know, course, and then now moving into the next thing. And going from the swords energy into the pentacle energy. And what this is talking about is that they're not, it's like, if you hadn't have come along and helped guide them through this nightmare, they would be stuck. It's like they would be stuck in their head about it. There's a stalling energy here, where they would have been like, it's almost like their own, like the way that they talk to themselves it's kind of coming up as like the way that they speak to themselves, like, is manifesting in their dreams. So if they speak to themselves in like, or about themselves in like this negative light, then it manifests in their dreams, because it's like a split energy. So you coming in and kind of helping them save themselves is, right, like how I was saying, it's integrating all of that, but then it's putting them in a place where it's talking about wholeness. And in doing so, they can be fully present in their life, like in reality, in the world that they see around them. So they're seeing everything for what it actually is, and not what it's not. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. There's something else here, as like they were surrounded by this umbrella of these stars. That's what got them to pull that energy back in, like, that's what got them to push all of this like integration into them. And then behind you, there's those rays of sunlight, and that's being presented here. It's a very like at night and then day. It's like a very quick transition. Oh, and then we also have the sun here. right? It's a very quick transition from this Nine of Swords into the Nine of Pentacles. It's like an overnight, it's coming up as like an overnight transition in which they've come, in which their strength has like, it's developed. They can now face their nightmares and they're fully developed. Like, well, I mean, we're always in a continuation of developing and growing and learning and all this stuff, but it's like this is like another thing that they can add to their repertoire, is this ability to overcome their own nightmares. And you're teaching it to them. Yeah, because the white owl comes up as like a teacher as well. The white owl is sometimes a teacher. It was coming up in the Leo reading as, and we've got a lot of Leo energy here too. There was a Leo reading back a while back, and it was speaking of like graduation. So that's interesting. I feel as though you are an unsuspected teacher in their lives. Okay, I'm gonna leave it off there. Sagittarius, if you are interested in seeing what comes up next, you can follow the link. I'm gonna pin it in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and pull some more cards for you. All right, see you then.